Hi, Mima. Lovely to chat to you.
Hi, Georgie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We're almost done with Fashion Week. We've just finished Milan literally hours ago. So
Yeah.
I wanted to chat to you a little bit about Milan overall and your overarching thoughts and kind of take a deep dive together. From my side, I thought this was quite a positive Milan Fashion Week. That there was quite a lot of high energy. Definitely the idea of loungewear is dead for Milan. Everyone's loving the idea of going out.
That couldn't be more dead.
Which I found really energetic. And I just felt like every time I was watching the shows, there was just this real energy. And perhaps that's just because I've been seeing loungewear constantly, but I felt like there was a real buzz for Milan. How did you feel?
Yeah, just before saying the overall, I need to say that the ending in Beauty by Valentino was just a gift from the sky. But let's go there in a second. I totally agree with you. I was writing today before, when I was sort of preparing for this, I was writing what I thought was back or was trending in Milan. And here my first three words: sex, skin, minis, and then my fourth, sheer. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of skin. There's, as you say, probably a boredom about boredom in general, but especially, we don't want loungewear, we don't want comfort. That's what the Milanese say. We want to go out and have sex and conquer and show our midriff, our shoulders, our legs a lot. So there was some nakedness, literal nakedness through gowns and stuff, and that was probably the biggest trend, I think. Even in very chic shows like Prada, Valentino, and Fendi, there was a lot of skin.
Yeah. And I think you're quite right in saying that, but I also picked up on this kind of old glamour that crept back. So on the one hand, you're so right, the sexiness, kind of naughty, cheeky, skin flaring, but then on the other hand, quite a lot of old glamour and Moschino, and both of them coming together in Fendi for sure. Lots of kind of traditional shapes, that kind of going out on the town, slightly older client feel. But I really liked that whole duality together throughout Men's Fashion Week.
If I prefer, I can see the old glamour, the old chic bourgeois, very Milanese, by the way. But I prefer the modern glamour of Valentino. I realize it's beautiful, but I'm not very much sold on old glamour ever, unless it's 1940s. But while I thought, I love Pierpaolo, but I think the modern glamours of Raf and Miuccia and Pierpaolo Piccioli, for me, was more of a sell. I adore Kim Jones and I respect him as a designer, and I love this couture show for Fendi. This one was, it was very good, but it was a bit beige for my taste. A little bit too much Roman Milanese bourgeois and a little bit too much old glamour. Not my cup of tea, but...
I felt the same way.
Really? Oh, I thought you liked it. I thought he did, like, there was this look. I even wrote it down because I didn't want to forget. There's a look number 10. It's this bias cut dress. It's absolutely spectacular. So it's Kim Jones did a great job. Not my cup of tea completely. That's what I wanted to say.
I think that's it. On paper, when you lay it down, beautiful Fendi house code, as you say, beautiful bias cut, fringing, furs done really well, but it doesn't have that freshness and finger on the pulse energy that the menswear does. Yeah. The menswear always has that 2 steps ahead of you, whereas this didn't. However, Valentino did.
Hold on a second, because I need to know what you think about Kim Jones here. Don't you think it's because he was trying to be so respectful, the evolution, not revolution, so respectful of the Fendi sister of Karl or whatever, that then he couldn't be himself? Don't you think so?
Yeah, it's a very tricky position and big shoes to fill. And I think considering all of that, it's a really beautiful collection. Back to that. Yeah, which was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and skin showing in the most gorgeous modern way, as you said.
The most refined as well. The most refined. Not everybody was refined in Milan, but he was the master of sexy refinement. That's a good line. Don't you think so?
I thought it was beautiful, and what I loved is that a lot of it was monochromatic, but it still had the impact of the kind of rich jewel tones and the floral colours that we have from previous collections. It still felt equally as romantic and passionate, even though it was quite cold in the colours, and the fact that it was bearing skin, there was still this huge emotional connection to the clothes, which I thought was hugely impressive.
The romance came very much from, and it's funny because it was online, so you think you don't feel it, but I felt it strongly. Also the textures and the material, it was very sensual. It was cocooning, you know, you can feel the cashmeres. But Valentino, I mean, black and white Valentino, first of all, is unexpected with a touch of gold here and then. The set, I mean, nothing compares, but Sinead O'Connor is one of my favorite songs of all time, sung live a cappella at the beginning by Cosima. And, you know, it's with the live orchestra, everything was just utter perfection. I mean, there's no words for me. For me, utter perfection.
Yeah. I think today for Milan Fashion Week was one of the first times where I felt the same kind of buzz I feel when I'm walking into a show or sitting at a show.
Thanks to him, thanks to the
thanks to Pierpaolo, yeah.
Absolutely, it was incredible. I thought there was some technical thing that made me feel, I could smell it in a way, but yeah, it was really
I totally get what you mean.
But I also, and again, you know, a classic, but then we'll go into the young one, but also loved Prada, and I thought this is what Prada Raf Simons should look like together. This was the right mix and just supposition, never clashing, but going together perfectly of the two great, you know, designers and their signature styles. And I love the fact that they brought over from the men the set, the pinstripes, what else? The long john, the bodysuit. You know, they were, as Miuccia always done that, a reminder of the men's collection that comes prior. But I thought this was the proof that they can work together. I don't know how to say it differently.
No, I totally get it. They're working in harmony now. Do you know what I mean? And it feels like that both of their signatures are working together in this nice osmosis. But the only thing I have to flag about the Prada collection, I loved it. Loved the Art Nouveau shapes, the patterns, the whole clutching of the kind of sashes and the furs and the ditzy prints and the sequin was just gorgeous. But for me, it still feels quite cold, and I can't put my finger on it. And it's beautiful and stunning, and I want all of it. And I love the presentation. And you're quite right. Working together works perfectly in this collection. But there's something that's not there in that kind of feminine connection to Prada that I normally feel, or that kind of. Do you know what I mean? There's a slight coldness to it.
Isn't Prada always cold? It's very severe. It's
very severe for sure.
And isn't that cold as well? I mean, I've always worn Prada and loved Prada, but I also, because there's no frills, because it's a bit cold, probably. I don't know. So I like it cold because it is.
Yeah, it is cold, but I don't know. I don't know if perhaps I'm being a bit too sensitive in lockdown, or but I just feel like it is so severe, particularly with the suiting, and I'm losing that bit of like kind of feminine edge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's why. Yeah, absolutely. I thought Todd was also very masculine, but in a sexy way. I mean, funny enough, I sort of love the Todd collection, but I mean, there was some looks that were very chic, masculine, but on a woman, and I think that's sexy, and I mean, I wouldn't compare, but the sexiness of Prada by Miuccia is that she can dress you and lock you into clothes and in a severe way, and you feel sexier than ever, at least for me, you know. If you're a sexy a la Versace, no, you would hate it, but if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I loved it, and I love the color and the slushiness of that set, you know, that adds warmth to probably a colder collection. But I thought it was really beautiful. I mean, the ideas, the cuts, it was a great collection, I think.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm very happy.
Who did you like in the young, in the upcoming one?
I have to throw an odd one into the mix because this isn't a brand that I thought I would mention, but Blue Marine was so fun and so fantastic.
You caught me unprepared there. I have no idea. I haven't watched.
Don't worry. It was kind of Paris Hilton meets Lindsay Lohan meets noughties references, and it felt like old Galliano Dior and everything that's kind of circulating on Depop and eBay at the moment. And it just felt really smart. Everyone's hunting for those things. Like, that's Gen Z all over. They will go nuts for that. And I just thought it was perfectly nostalgic for my generation and made me feel, particularly after lockdown and watching all these noughties films and having all these references again. I just thought it was very clever. Very clever.
I'm sorry, but I will look it up because I like the passion that comes out of you from.
It was just fun. It was just really fun. Yeah. Brilliant styling, I thought.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I also quite liked Moschino as well. Again, kind of talking about that old glamour. I was less into the jungle kind of safari jackets, but I really loved the slightly more glamorous dresses and the flamingo coming off at the side. I think I'm craving that kind of.
I love film. I think Moschino was proof for me that there's something that comes out of these digital fashion weeks that goes beyond the fashion, and we can have a full, discussion on that. I think there's something fantastic, and especially in London it was, and I wish I was there to discuss that with you. I had so much to say, but so I did enjoy the Moschino films very much, and I thought it was very much in line with what Moschino stood for and what Jeremy Scott stands for now. Did I like the fashion? I mean, maybe because I'm Swiss, but the cows and the prairies on the gowns, not really what I would want to wear to a premiere. Funny enough, probably my favorite section fashion wise was the one you didn't like, the safari one, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it was an interesting thing and it was very consistent. Do you think they will sell that? I mean, that's what I always wonder with Moschino.
I think it dilutes down very well into like fabulous accessories. Okay. And yes, we're seeing the whole head to toe stylized piece, but if you took one of those safari jackets out and I wore that over jeans, that would be quite fabulous.
Well, yeah, you're describing my favorite, but your least favorite, so I wonder if
but still, who knows? Will the flamingo sell? I don't know, but there could be some flamingo themed accessories that will go very well, I'm sure. And was there anyone else from the young crowd that you had your
the young, I wouldn't call Jeremy Scott young or Moschino young brand, but Sune, I thought that especially the way they presented, those girls against the screen that try to come up with part of their faces, squeezed against the screens and the clothes. They use this technology where if you try to see the materials, they're almost 3D. So you can see exactly what, you can almost touch it. And I thought that was very clever, but I love what they do. I love their collection. I mean, they're not for me, but you should only wear Sune.
I'd love to. If anyone's watching, Sune only for me. Yeah, I agree. I think it's gorgeous. And I love that kind of almost scuba-y feel to some of their garments and the wacky shoes. And it's so good and fresh and fun and like, I want to say edible, but it's not edible, but it's just so
funny because it's so fun. And yet it's fun. And yet it's fun and good fashion. And I think that's what you need to do when you're young, when you're going against, when you're working with giants a la Armani, Prada, Ferragamo, by the way, futuristic Ferragamo was surprising and good, and when in Fendi, when you end up in there, it's not easy. It's not easy. By the way, talking about sexy and sex is back. Numero 21, Alessandro Dell'Acqua was completely sexy.
Super sexy.
I can't wait to go out and
sheer hot lace layers.
Yeah, a tiny bit heroin chic. I mean, very skinny models. I'm a little bit over that, but interesting, sexy. Want to go out and have fun again. Finally, fashion. Yeah.
Super sexy, and I think also layerable because while there's a lot of sheer, it works in different ways. That's what my take.
And that's modern, and I love that. It's very modern.
Yeah. I have to do a shout out to MM6 because I really loved the collection. They had gorgeous gloves and boots, and the way the bags were held, and the whole thing was just beautiful.
And also the photos, I mean, the way it was photographed and the background. I mean, it was really beautiful. I didn't make a note. It was a very short collection, very small, but striking. And I wanted to, can I say what I really didn't like?
Go for it.
With all my heart. I mean, quite expectantly, Dolce & Gabbana. What was that about? I mean, yes, new technologies, new here, trying to be modern. For me, just what the heck? You know, that was, and I can't wait to read what other people think, because no, really not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
By the way, I counted them, not counted. I went to look. 135 looks. I mean, we're trying to talk about sustainable fashion and no waste, and 135 looks of that stuff.
But even thinking about that in times now, 130, like, however many, that's not 130 models, I don't doubt, but like that's still probably 50 plus models in a, you know, thinking about
probably more than that.
I'm sure triple figures, but the whole production of that in the times that we're in now, again with sustainability, again with it's so dated, and also just really
so dated,
deaf to what's going on. Do it like Ferragamo. Don't do it with 100.
Paul Andrew is a young, smart, creative, you know. I mean, I really love Ferragamo. There was a little bit, maybe some hints of Nicola Ghesquière, but maybe it's just inspiration for me, since I remember I know what Nicolas does. It was a tiny bit too close to that, but it was very interesting. Beautiful film, beautiful collection, lush. He's such a good colorist, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
His colors are spectacular.
So good, good, and it's so rich, and again that kind of like yummy technique. It's so divine, divine. When you see the mood board behind him backstage, normally when we go to the shows, it's just the most rich, gorgeous collage of references, colors. It's so lovely.
He has a fantastic eye for color, and now that we need, you know, color in our lives. And we can only forgive Valentino because it was so beautiful. Well, that's a good point. But to go back to what I didn't like, less with a passion than B&G, but Tom Ford, I didn't think it was. I mean, I know it. I don't know if it belongs to. I know it belongs to America, but it showed during Milan. So I thought he's very happy that we're going back to sex and skin, because that's what he became famous. I thought it was dated.
Yeah, I agree as well. I was a little disappointed actually, because I was really looking forward to seeing his collection because of that whole.
Yeah.
Tom Ford's the kind of person, the designer that I would want to see for sex, energy, going out, just like that whole fun, vivacious feel, and I just didn't get that at all from this collection.
It was a bit tacky also. I mean, it's a very hard word to use for Tom Ford, who can be so chic, but I was like, what? That cannot be Tom Ford. I really disliked it. And another one that I know you usually love, that I'm going down in the dislike, but less dislike, it's Marni.
Oh, I loved Marni.
Tell me, what did
I just think, I love this idea of riffing on lockdown outfits, so pajamas and puffers wrapped around. And again, I think it's a bit like, take those pieces apart and they're really going to sing. Some of those skirts with the kind of folded and crimping and layers. I just loved it. And I loved there was one menswear look with kind of a soft explosion coming out of the suit. I think it's quintessentially Francesco.
It was quintessentially Francesco, but usually I do like, even if it's not my cup of tea, but I do love what Francesco stands for, and that. This one you said, you know, these things ripped apart, and I would have let them apart, you know, really. I didn't like the styling. I didn't like the attitude. I love the gigantic bags. I thought they were fun. There were one or two gigantic bags that I thought were quite funny, but no, I cannot.
I know what you mean about the attitude, because I had to kind of, for me, I was like, okay, the way it's presented, I'm not in love with, and the feel I wasn't in love with, but the actual pieces, and I did like the styling, I loved. So I think there was some kind of a translation jip there. But I think overall, I really liked it, but it is difficult. Do you know what I mean? It's not the easiest, it's not the most digestible Marni we've ever had.
And then I would like to ask you, because I don't understand it yet, but this, new enfant prodige out of CSM, Connor Ives.
Yes.
What do you think, and what did you think? Teach me.
So I really love Connor's work, and he used to do kind of collage t-shirt dresses, and he made a dress for Adwa, I think, a little while ago, like 2 or 3 years ago.
That's why he became famous.
Yeah. And I've only ever known him before that for doing kind of collage t-shirt dresses and really fun.
And he says, I managed to do what I did because I was poor, because I'm poor, because I had to go out and, buy stuff and find, and I adore that. And I think the best creativity comes from having to be creative with what you can have. And I remember Adwa dress that I loved, and I remember this collection in Milan was less interesting for me.
I think there was like 1 or 2 looks that I was really taken by. There was one piece that was kind of a scarf that matched the jacket, that matched the skirt, and they all kind of had a mirroring print on. That I thought was gorgeous, but I was missing that kind of
freshness, not
cut and paste energy, but cut and paste energy, missing a little bit of that.
Maybe it's the pressure, but I'm sure he will have a great future. He's a talented.
I think there's talent there for sure, and what I liked and what I thought was strong was really great. I'm just kind of hoping those 2 worlds combined. This was a little bit too. I want a little bit of cut and paste into the polished that he's now presenting.
Yeah, exactly.
So overall, I think that was quite a good Milan. I've a few misses, a few iffy moments, but I think Valentino saved the day. I think it was good. I'm really pleased with this Milan, and as you say, I'm very much pleased that it's a different feeling entirely from London and New York. Hopefully Paris will be the same.
Let's see.
Fingers crossed. Lovely to speak to you, Mia. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Bye.